let's see. Make sure we have everything correct here. All right. Live for another week of lunch break, weekly Q&A. I'm here to answer whatever questions are troubling you for screen printing or curiosities, screen printing, business, graphic design, whatever it is. So whatever those questions may be, let me know in the chat. Go ahead and say hi if you're watching. Let me know who's watching and where you're watching from, maybe. And let's get into this. So throw your questions in the chat. Otherwise, I usually just talk, trying to come up with some things that have been asked recently so that you can hopefully I'll answer something that is beneficial for you. But this works a lot better if you just ask questions while we do this. So let's hear it if you've got it. I think one thing that has been asked of me, people have asked me several times here recently, is just different ways of curing. Like there's still some fear around water-based and not being able to cure it enough, or not having the right equipment. Like if you don't have the forced air dryer, everybody's worried that you're not going to be able to cure water-based completely. And I just want to remind you again, especially if you're using the low cure additive, the warp drive, the low cure catalyst, you really, my experience is curing water-based is a lot easier than curing plastisol if you have minimal equipment. So, if you have a heat press and you don't have a flash and you want to just use a heat gun to cure plastisol, that's fine. And I've heard that works pretty well. I tried to cure it with just my flash before, and it was, I found it to be more difficult than curing without, or than curing water-based. So I don't know. That's just been my experience. So I don't think, hopefully I can begin to dispel some of these fears around printing with water-based and not getting it cured, and just whatever other fears everybody has about curing with water-based ink, or even just printing with water-based ink, especially at home when you don't have, maybe all the right equipment. But it really doesn't have to be as scary and daunting, and it's really not as difficult as everybody makes it, or some people may make it out to be. Like I said, I found that printing with water-based was much more doable in my home setup, and this was before I even had this press here. But I've always just cured it with my flash and used the low cure catalyst. So that's always worked well for me, and I think anybody else could use it and be in the same situation. So if there's any other fears around printing with water-based, like what's kept you from printing with water-based, I'd love to know so that I can speak to that. But it just seems to be a consistent theme that everyone, the people that reach out to me are like, man, it's really cool that you print water-based, or, I really want to get into water-based, but I'm afraid of this. I'm afraid it won't get cured, or I'm afraid it'll dry on the screen. And is that true? Yeah. Just like printing with plastisol, there are issues that can come about when you're trying to cure it properly. And water-based drying in the screen, though, I'm in Colorado, super dry environment, very little humidity, if any. And I find that it really doesn't dry. White ink, yeah, it's thicker. It's going to dry out much faster. You need to kind of keep moving. And as you get deeper into a print run, 50 to 100 shirts, your platens start to really heat up, and it's going to thicken that ink even more. So there are some issues that come about with white ink, but the colored inks, honestly, I have walked away from my press for an hour and come back and been able to continue printing. So, it's not like plastisol where you can come back overnight and continue printing, but it is, it's much more forgiving than you might think, or people might discuss or lead you to believe any other time. But all right, well, let's keep the questions coming. Don't have any in the chat quite yet, but if there are some, if you have a question about anything or curiosity or just want to talk printing or talk about something you've just worked on, or maybe business, I've seen a lot of conversation about, is business slow right now? Um, and I think that depends on your region, it depends on your business and how much, what your customer base is, what your audience is into right now. If you're dedicated to schools and um, things like that are getting started with their fall semesters, then you're probably pretty busy right now, or maybe coming towards the end of your extremely busy season. If you're printing for a lot of like lifestyle brands that really kick heavy in the summer, or then again at the holidays, then you're probably in a lull right now. You probably were pretty heavy in the spring, and then you're going to be a lull until you get closer to October. Probably is when most brands start to prep for the holiday rush, or at least should. But there are some things that you can do to accommodate, or to not accommodate, but to sort of bring a little bit more business in during these times. So you need to understand what the times are for you and get an idea of what to prepare for, what seasons to prepare for, and maybe those are the seasons that you start to do a little bit more outreach or a little more promotional activity. It's not to say running discounts, because in a slow time, the last thing you want to do is have less profit. So, like I always say, don't do discounts. Do um, add-ons, bonuses, value, increased value rather than a discount is always better. But if you are slow, then there are several things you can do to pick up the slack during these slow times. One of them is have a list of businesses that you want to reach out to and go visit them personally. If there are local businesses, if local business is your market, then go visit them, in person. And maybe you bring them some samples, or maybe you just show up and have a conversation with them and just let them know that who you are and what it is you do. Um, when during slow times is a great time to work on some things. If there's like a print style that you've been wanting to offer, discharge or something like that, then this is a great time to take a chance to work on some of that. Another way to get new business during these low times is to reach out to your existing customers and um, either offer some sort of referral promo for them. Where maybe if they refer somebody, they'll get an extra 50 shirts on their next order, or not 50, that's a lot, but maybe 10, or maybe some hats, or maybe you do want to do a discount for that particular situation. And then maybe another way to connect and get more business during the slow times now is to put together some items that are actually pre-printed for specific brands, and take those and deliver them to them. So it's more than just bringing a sample to a company you want to do business with. These are maybe bigger accounts that you want to, you're trying to land a bigger account that's ordering more and more often. Then, this is a good time to print some items with their logo on it, and essentially give them some free items, just to, sort of have that goodwill towards them, or from them towards you, to kind of help out there. Now's also a good time where you could really spend some time focusing on your SEO. Things like your local Google business listing. That's a very important aspect to your business from a digital perspective. If you don't have control of your Google business listing, then first of all, get that. Second of all, make sure that stays up to date, so that you are almost treating it like a social media platform, where you're uploading new content, new images, making sure that your hours are up to date, and that you are commenting on things that people have commented on, and that you're reaching out to customers after orders to get reviews on Google. I really can't understate the importance of that Google business listing, and the value that it can provide pretty quickly. Most SEO stuff is pretty, it's a long-term game. So when you spend time on SEO, it's typically, you're you're not seeing a return for at least 3 to 4, sometimes 6 months when you're focused on SEO strategies. But the Google business listing is one of those areas where um, when I finally took a step towards updating mine and getting it current and getting some reviews in and then maintaining that, I saw a significant uptick in quote requests and therefore orders as well. So it's really important, and it's a super easy, quick win. It doesn't cost anything. It just takes a couple of hours one day to go in and get everything set up, make sure that you've claimed your page, and get everything connected and set up the way you want. And then just every month go in and update things, add new pictures that you've taken throughout that month of orders that you've done. Send out emails to everyone who ordered that month and ask them if they would be willing to give you a review on Google, and give them the link to do that. So make it super simple. But that Google business listing is incredibly valuable, really important. So, does that bring up any questions for anybody else? Now it's also a good time to work on your website if that's something that you haven't spent a lot of time or effort on. Um, work on things like that. I think the fear with most business owners is that the slow times are what's going to destroy them. But if you take advantage of the slow times in the right way, it can be what sets your business up for long-term success. You not only need to be prepared for these slow times, you need to be planning ahead for them so that you do have revenue to last you through these times, and you're figuring out other ways to bring in new business. But when you're super busy, you don't have time or the mental capacity to be working on your systems inside of your business. You're just getting stuff done. And then when the time comes for things to slow down, that's when you need to work on your systems, because then you'll be ready for that influx of leads and business. So take this opportunity to do that for sure. Nikhil's back. Hello again, and got another question here. What's your business strategy when competitors offer lower prices? How should I approach the situation? Should I also reduce my prices to match them, or is there a better way to handle it? Nikhil, first of all, I'll mention that I know you recorded my response last week and then asked to share that, and I don't think that was an appropriate step to take in the way you did that. So if you're recording this, hate to hear that again, and hopefully you're not going about this trying to get an answer and then spreading it around. I'll give you my honest answer, but just wanted to make that claim right up front because it was kind of disappointing to get that email from you. But no, if you've watched any of my stuff, read through or listen through the first several episodes of my podcast, I don't think you should ever compete on price. So honestly, I don't care what the competition's price is. That's obviously a little bit overstated. I do care to an extent, but I don't adjust my prices based on somebody else's price. My price is my price for a reason, and the value I provide is what differentiates me, not the price. And so if you compete on price, you're essentially driving the industry down, and at some point somebody's going to lose money if you continue to go down on price. And so if a customer is wanting a lower price, they're wanting you to compete on price, or they're bringing you a competitor's price and saying, hey, can you beat this? I typically tell that customer that I can't. And I give them, a reason why I don't want to compete on price. But that customer is going to drive somebody out of business, and I don't want it to be me. So focused on price is not focused on value. So they're always going to be looking for a discount and expecting a discount. So you really, it makes it more difficult for you to differentiate. And they're never going to appreciate the value that they're getting because they're price conscious, they're price focused. And so they aren't concerned with the value, they're concerned with the price. And so what I recommend people do is, rather than competing on price, compete on value. And some of that has to do with the experience the customer has doing business with you. But a lot of that has to do with, maybe you have some add-ons. Maybe you will bag the shirts for free, or you'll fold them and put stickers on them or something. Some extra bonus, some added value that you can provide, because in a customer's mind, people perceive people get the sensation of having gotten a discount in two ways. They either get a cheaper price than the full price for something, or they get more than they paid for. Okay, so you can get full price and add a little bit. And the reason I think that is better is not only can you then determine what you're adding and whether it really is a cost to you. So, like folding every shirt's not a raw cost, a hard cost, it's more of a time cost. Um, but also, it teaches that customer that they still paid full price. So, when they come back the next time, they're not expecting you to be able to discount your full price. And so they still are perceiving you as being valuable. If you constantly discount the price, you end up as Walmart. And unless you want to be a Walmart print shop where you're the cheapest place in town and your game is going to be printing as much as possible, then that's the way to do it. You can be the cheapest place in town and print 100 orders a day and make a lot of money, but you got to get a lot of business in the door. You've got to do a lot in order to get that revenue goal. If you're going for the cheapest price, and that's what Walmart's thing is. They have a ton of items, and same with Amazon. They got a ton of items. They make very low margin on them, but they sell so many that it works out to where they can be incredibly profitable. But there's a lot of work with that and a lot of staff. And so most shops, I would guess, don't want to be in that position where they are having to get 100 orders in the door just to make some money. It would be better to get 20 orders in the door and make the same amount of money, because you focused on your niche and you focused on people who are concerned with value and not with price. I covered a lot of this stuff in my business course as well. So if business strategies like that are areas where you would like to have some improvement, or gain some tips and strategies and insight, then I would certainly recommend checking that course out. It is available on my website. Anybody else? What other questions do we maybe have? Anything? I really could talk about the business stuff all day long. That stuff really, business excites me. I mean, I love screen printing, but I love business just as much, if not more, sometimes. But given that I'm in marketing for my career, my day gig, it's certainly something that's always top of mind. Let's hear it though. What other questions do we have? Ran the design workshop a couple of weeks ago, and it went really well. Several attend those live sessions, and then almost the same amount purchase the on-demand after, and that is available for purchase on demand on my website. But it was a lot of fun. But I'm looking forward to doing more workshops. But I need some feedback on what those topics should be about. What parts of screen printing or design or business is most needed right now, and where can I support the community? So I'm always looking for feedback on that. Alfonso, welcome. And he's got, what marketing methods do you use to gain new clients? Great question, Alfonso. We were kind of just discussing this a little bit, but my recommendations, first of all, I'll say I don't recommend doing, let's go to what I don't recommend first. I don't recommend running ads, spending money on ads. Okay. I don't recommend running discounts. To gain new clients, I recommend outreach. So whether that's going on social media with your Instagram account for your business and going and following all the businesses that you want to do business with. And this would require you to have a niche, right? Like I recommend that you not be a shop that serves everybody, but you be a shop that that has a specific category of customer that you serve really well, and you become the go-to for that category. Maybe that is, I've got a follower who their niche is fire stations, and so they print for a ton of fire and first responders. Um, so that's a good niche. Another one that I've seen is like blue collar trades. Like plumbers, electricians, and construction workers, and builders, and all things like that. Mechanics. All of those like similar types of businesses. Because when you pick a niche like that, you can really begin to speak their language, and at that point, someone, a customer, is going to be more attracted to a business that understands what it is they do than a business that is the quote unquote uh, best of the best at their trade. So, if I can speak the language of a construction crew, they're going to feel more comfortable about doing business with me because I understand their business and I'm speaking their language, versus that same construction company going to another print shop that maybe is better than me and bigger than me and maybe even more affordable than me. Chances are greater that that construction company is going to choose me because, again, I'm tailoring my business to their needs, not I'm trying to be the best screen printer for everybody. So, with those out of the way, marketing methods to get new clients. Again, don't do advertising, because there's a difference between marketing and advertising. Advertising is stepping out into a crowd and just shouting, "Hey, I've got something to sell. Would somebody please buy it?" And there are times when that is appropriate, but marketing is when you step into that crowd and you begin to have conversations with people, invite them into the story of what your business is doing and what your business can do for them. So that's much more comfortable for a customer to be a part of, and that becomes something that they want to be a part of. And so the ways to do that are, like I said, reaching on social media, reach out to the companies that you want to do business with, follow them, comment on their things, make yourself visible to them so that you become familiar, because familiarity is one of the biggest draws to someone, or factors for someone doing business with someone else. They immediately think of who they're familiar with first. So become familiar in those ways. Visit their business personally if it's a retail space that you can become a patron of. If it's a corporation, obviously you can't go into that corporation freely without setting up a meeting with them. But if it's a restaurant or a coffee shop or a bookstore or whatever it is, even like a paint store or anything like that, mechanic shop, go do business with them. Go get your oil changed at the oil change place, and just have a conversation with the person up front, and talk about how you do business. You're a screen printer, your local screen printer, and you appreciate that they're there because you like doing business locally. I had a flower shop that I wanted to do business with, and so I purchased flowers from them for a family several times over a period of several weeks. And then just had a conversation with him one time. I was like, "Hey, she apologized that she was so busy." I was like, "Look, I get it. I'm excited to see you busy. I'm a small business owner, and I appreciate when I see other small business owners that are experiencing success. So I'm glad to see it. I'm not mad about you being too busy to serve me right now. I can wait." And she immediately was like, "Oh, that's interesting. What is it that you do?" And so I began to tell her, I do this. Here's something I've got on. If that was ever a need for yours, I'd love to talk more, maybe bring you some samples. And she was like, "Oh man, that would be fantastic. I actually did, but I haven't had time to look and find anybody, and I don't really know what to do." And so the conversation started there. So it all started with me, rather than just emailing her or calling her and saying, "Hey, I do apparel. Do you need apparel?" I did business with her, and I created that relationship, and I created that familiarity and trust, so that what she saw first is that I was becoming a customer of hers, and I was supporting her and not just out to get her money. And so whenever I did make the pitch of, and I knew good and well, um, I was very aware of the statement I was making when I said, I'm a small business owner. I'm excited to see other small business owners succeed and be successful. Um, I set myself up for that. I did that on purpose. And so as soon as she apologized for being busy, I thought, there's my chance. This is what I've been waiting on. This is why I've been coming here and becoming familiar with her. And so I took it, and I said that intentionally so that she could then respond with, oh, what is it that you do? Because that's what people do. They respond with, oh, what is it that you do? What's your business? Um, and then the other thing that I would encourage you to do, Alfonso, is to start to develop an email list if you don't already. So take the emails of the customers you have, and maybe have a lead magnet, something that you can give to people that people would be willing to give their email address in exchange for the download. Maybe it is a 10% off coupon for one-time use, or maybe it's you know for an extra 10 hats on their next order, or um, I don't know, that whatever you can think of. Maybe it's a download of like the top 10 t-shirt brands of 2024. Whatever it's going to serve, whatever's going to serve your niche the best. Um, Develop that with a PDF download or anything, whatever it is, and then give that away in exchange for their email addresses. Because when you think about like advertising has like a 5-to-1 return. So that's typically like a good social media ad campaign is going to have about 5-to-1. So you spend $100, you should expect a revenue gain of $500 in return. So that's the ratio there, which is good. I mean, yeah, if I can give you $100 and you give me 500 in return, I'm going to keep doing that, right? But email marketing has a 40-to-1 return. So that right there already is way more successful, a way bigger return than any other type of advertising or marketing. So email marketing, but you got to be sure that you're not using email as an ad platform. You want to use your email to become familiar. That's the whole goal, is that you're providing value and you're becoming familiar and you're helping them grow their business. So when I'm visiting a place in person and I'm becoming a customer, I'm providing value to them, right? I'm giving them my money. That's providing value. I'm helping them grow their business. I'm shopping with them, giving them my money again. Um, and I'm becoming familiar. So we want to treat the email marketing the same way. We want to provide value with nothing expected in return. We want to help them grow their business. However, whatever that means for a screen print shop to help another shop grow their business. Maybe it's tips on how to do the best retail apparel. Maybe it's tips on how to use apparel for fundraising if it's a nonprofit. Whatever that means, you're providing value to them and you're becoming familiar. So you want to send emails a couple of times a month. At a minimum, I would say twice a month. Ideally would be 2 to 4 times a month. But whatever you can do to maintain that familiarity and the top of mind with your customer, that's the purpose. That's the most effective use of email marketing, is to just stay at the top of their inbox. And you don't want to overwhelm an email every day unless they knowingly signed up for a daily newsletter. If you can keep that up, by all means do it. But otherwise, you want to continually do that reach out so that they begin to open your emails, because you always provide value. And then every now and then you can then ask for the sale. You can say, all right, I've provided value 3 emails in a row this month, and I'm going to send one last email, and it's going to summarize the value I just provided, and then it's going to give a pitch. It's going to say, hey, by the way, we talked about a lot of the current t-shirt trends. If you're ready to take advantage of this as we go into the holidays, let me know, because there's a great stock quantity of this shirt right now, and I can turn this around pretty quickly for you, and I can help you get through this process. We can get some awesome apparel so you get ready for the holidays. So you got to be much more strategic about it. You can't just blast out an email every 3 months and expect email marketing to go well for you. So and then lastly, Alfonso, in case you missed it, I would say the Google business page. If that's not something that you have established yet, then you want to make sure that you have your Google business listing, that it's up to date. You have all the current information on there. Do some posts, ask for reviews, and then be active on social media or wherever it is that your audience is active, so that you can become familiar to them. So writing content for your website, doing video content for your business. These are all effective marketing methods that I think can not only help during downtimes, but like you said, help gain new clients And what you'll see is as you maintain consistency with these efforts and you're gaining a larger and larger following of subscribers, for your email list, or a much larger awareness of who you are, then you will be able to sustain much longer, and your efforts to bring in new business will transition to your efforts to take the business you have and get more out of it. So you're going to reach a point in any business, if you haven't already, to where it's not about bringing in new clients, because new clients at some point become pretty expensive. So you typically, it's pretty standard for an established business to not have any profit off of a new client for the first 10 to 12 months, because it's expensive to bring on a new client, a new customer, because they have to understand how to do business with you. You have to get used to how to do business with them. They have to understand. You have to convince them of the value that they just paid for. So they've got to experience the end result. There's just a lot that goes into new business. You always need to have new business coming in, but don't lose sight of current business, because the companies that really succeed in any industry are the ones who understand that 80% of their revenue, of their profit, comes from 20% of their customer base. And so, about once a year, when you get to become an established business, about once a year, you can pretty safely assume that it would be valuable for your business to eliminate the lower fourth of your customer base, meaning don't do business with them anymore. Don't promote to them. Don't reach out to them. Take them off your lists. And if they come back to you and want to do business, it's fine. But don't spend effort maintaining them, because they are costing you money. And you will find that you get to a point where you can make the same amount of money with half the number of clients. And the way you do that is you provide more value and have more reasons to charge your best customers. So your best customers are not the ones you always give discounts to, and they're not the ones that are always taking advantage of your promotions if you're doing promotional discounts. Those are not your best customers. Your best customers are the ones that pay you full price and don't bat an eye, and love the quality and always speak about the quality you provide, and they keep coming back, and they're easy to work with, and you don't have to hassle them on payments or anything like that. They understand when issues happen, and they appreciate the resolutions you provide. But those are the customers that they're focused on value, and they want to do business with you, so they're willing to pay you more money, not for the same thing, but for more things. So sometimes it's added services, laser engraving or embroidery or whatever, but not always. Sometimes it's, hey, I actually will provide this file for you, or we'll provide some images that we take on press while we're printing your order, and you can use those on social media. Those are things that you could very easily add into your working system, but you can charge extra for that. And those customers are going to be willing to pay for that. And you're going to find that the customers that are willing to pay for those added value, the added benefits, the additional services that you can provide, they're going to help you eliminate the other customers that you have very low margin on, because they're just focused on, individual orders and, whatever price conscious, they're the cheapest shirt, and, they just want to get by. So again, I don't want to spend too much time hashing on that, because I'll just go down a rabbit hole of business. But this is a lot of the business conversation that I had in my business course. So if that's something that you want to dive deeper in, then definitely check out that course. The link is on my website in the store. You can see it. It's one of the items, one of my products in my store. So the Screen Printer's Guide to Business is it's more than 7 hours of course content talking about these exact topics: business, marketing, customer service, business systems, pricing. Go deep into pricing during one session. So hopefully that's helpful. All right, what other questions do we have? That was fun. I like these business questions. Any screen printing questions or design questions as well? I'd love to know what everybody's using for a proofing system. I just found a proofing system here recently, where it's something that I can send to clients that has the ability for them to go on and click on certain areas of the design and make comments and choose whether it's approved or unapproved or rejected or whatever. and then check things to confirm. I mean, it's in reminders and I finally found. I mean, I've been looking for something like this for 15 years since I first got into screen printing, and I've never found one that I was truly happy with that actually functioned in a way that I thought was beneficial for screen print businesses. And I finally found one, and I've been using it lately, and man, I love it, and I can't wait to show everybody how to use it and what it is. But it also has a very generous free plan, which is the reason that I really got into it. But now I have the pro plan, and it was an easy decision because the benefits that are added with that. But I love that now I can take and submit a proof to a client, and they can click a link, and it would show them that proof. Again, they can leave comments. We click on certain areas and say, hey, make this bigger or move this down or whatever. Leave the comments, and then they can say, approve or deny or whatever, approve with changes. And if they approve it, then they have to check these boxes that I get to determine that says, I understand that, my approval means this is going to be printed exactly like it's seen, and that anything that's missed is my responsibility, and that I'm not going to get mad, when something is printed that's misspelled. As long as it looks like the proof, then we're covered, And so it's got all these like checks that I think are just so great that require them to check the boxes, and then I can keep all of the things kind of centrally within the system, and I can send reminders and stuff, and it's just really great. So I'm looking forward to showing that off. But I've never been able to find one, like I said, that really worked the way I wanted it to. So I'm excited to finally show that off soon. What else? Other questions? Any water-based questions? We're getting into hoodie season. Any hoodie questions? Yeah, screen making, film. I've had a lot of discussions lately about the black ink systems, all black ink systems. The one I'm using is working really well. So if you have an all black ink system but you don't have RIP, that's been a conversation lately where you're not really getting the full benefit of an all black system. So it's probably it is better than nothing, but there are ways to get the actual full benefit out of that if you have a RIP. Another new product that I added to my store recently was a pricing calculator. So I use Airtable for my pricing calculator, and I've got a formula all built in, and I've got everything set up so that I can, plug in the details of an order. I select the garment I want, and it already has the price, set because I set that in the back end. And then I do the print colors, for each location and all the details, and then it spits out a price for me. And so I added that to the store. So if anybody's interested in using Airtable to be their pricing calculator, it's already got the formulas built into it. All you got to do is plug in your cost information. So what you want to charge for things like flash fee and ink fee and screen fee and design fee and whatever, all those things in the back end. And then it will build that all into a formula and spit out a price. So again, that's something else you can get on my site now at shop.startupscreenprinting.com. And so if anybody's interested in using that pricing calculator, it's there. And already had some people use it and they love it. So would love feedback if anybody else goes and purchases that. We got it pretty cheap right now for what it provides. I've spent a lot of time fine tuning it over the years. Pricing is an area that a lot of people are uncomfortable with. I was too, still am some days. But the one way I've found to gain some confidence in it is to set some standards for myself and develop an actual formula and have this calculator so that I don't have to question. I know that it's taking everything into consideration. It's considering my my costs and my desired profit and all of those things like that. So having that pricing calculator set and ready to go has been hugely beneficial for my business. So I thought I would share that with others as well. All right. Well, if there's not any other questions, then we'll call it a day this week's lunch break. Hope everybody has a fantastic weekend, and that you can gather some questions for next week. Join next week. If you are watching this and you aren't aware, I do have a free community for screen printers that's outside of, Facebook and what's the other one? Oh gosh, starts with a D. I forget. Those other community platforms. I can't stand Facebook, and especially Facebook groups. Not only the interface, the layout, the distractions, but also sometimes the type of person that you find in some of those groups. So I do have the Print Crew over at theprintcrew.com. It's a free community to join. And so if you're looking for a place that has other screen printers and decorators who are some early on in their business, or some haven't even started yet, or some are years in, who are just willing to help each other out, and a safe place to ask questions, even rookie questions, and not feel judged or demeaned by the question you're asking, then the Print Crew is the place for you. And like I said, it's a free place to join. If you have any issues joining at theprintcrew.com, let me know. But there's beginning to be more and more conversation going there. The community is growing. It's new, but it's growing. And my goal with it is just to provide a place that's dedicated to screen printers, dedicated to people who are starting screen print businesses, or apparel decoration businesses in general, who are just willing to help each other out. And so, be kind and generous and supportive, and answer each other's questions, give feedback and suggestions, and cheer each other on. And so that's the goal with that community. So if that's a place that you would like to be a part of, again, theprintcrew.com, and then up in the top right, it'll say, or maybe somewhere down in the text, I forget, it says to join now. So you can join that. It's free to join. And I'd love to have more people over there to get more conversation going to help more people. Because I'm a part of communities for other areas of my business that are dedicated to other areas, and they've just been hugely impactful and beneficial for the things that I do. And community in general is just such a valuable asset for anyone, for any endeavor that you have. If you can surround yourself with like-minded community, you'd be amazed at how much easier it makes going about that thing. So you have people that can surround you and support you and encourage you and help each other out. That's the whole goal there. So go join theprintcrew.com, and you can ask these questions all the time. But otherwise, we'll call it a day because I don't see any more questions coming in. But we'll look forward to bringing this again next Friday, 1 p.m. Mountain Time. I've got a lot in store that's coming in videos, so looking forward to get those out there. If you ever have a question, reach out to me. If you want to see a video on something, I love ideas to cover different topics of screen printing or business. So I appreciate any ideas or feedback that can be sent my way. But again, we'd love to see you join the Print Crew. And if you are looking for ways to support the channel, I don't take any sponsorships from businesses. So I'm making this channel 100% user funded. So if that's something that you are interested in, there are ways to do that you can see in the description. So that's it for today and this week. Hope you all have a great weekend, and we'll see you back here next week, next Friday, for lunch break. Take care.